What it do? It's your boy, Illuminated D. And you know what I'm saying? We back with another one. The first thing I want to do is thank you to everybody who's liked and commented. And to all the subscribers. Pops and I want to let you know how much we really appreciate you. For you to come and spend your time with us and to consume the content. While we understanding that you have busy lives, we want to thank you and bless. And family, today's video is going to be called Success is Not Random. I want to let you all know that success is not something that's just going to happen out of thin air unless your parents are rich and they pass it down. Or unless you win the lottery. But let me tell you something. Success, in turn, was not random because your parents had to work for it. Or their parents had to work for it and it had to be passed down and managed in order for it to be passed to you. Success is not random. You had to go and buy a scratch-off ticket, which means that if you didn't win on the first try, you had to try again. And if you didn't win on the second try, you had to try again. And if you didn't win on the third try, you tried again. And if you didn't win on the fourth, you tried again until eventually you potentially hit the lottery. That means that you probably had to spend well over 50K. Now, if you're just the luckiest person in the world, then maybe you hit the lottery. Maybe you hit the lottery. Success is not random. A lot of times, I don't think people realize that. They think that people just blew up overnight. They think that these rappers really blew up overnight, like they wasn't putting in work in the booth. Like it wasn't late nights of writing and rapping and singing and writing and rapping and singing when nobody heard them for days, years, until one day they put out so much work that they outperformed the population of individuals and they made the right connections to where they blew up. They think a lot of these wealthy individuals who are just major property owners didn't start from a single family home. And then they used their home equity line of credit. And then they got another home. And then they lived in that home for a year. And they accessed their home equity line of credit. And then they bought another home. And then they lived in that home for about a year. And then they accessed their home equity line of credit. And then they potentially sold all 4 or 3 houses, right? After a certain period of time, and then they bought a 4-plex or a 6-plex. And then they lived in one unit, stacked up their bread, lived that good life, and then they used that home equity line of credit, or they sold it, and then they bought another one. These people aren't necessarily, they're showing you the good life up front, but I want the community to understand that success is not random. It's not random. It didn't just happen out the blue. There was a lot of work, a lot of hard work and dedication, a lot of research, a lot of uncertainty, fear, doubt, FUD, as they would call it, fear, uncertainty, and doubt that went into this. A lot of anxiety that went into this. But it's not just so much about getting the success that you pray for. See, we always pray for the success. We always pray for it. It's about the maintenance. It's about maintaining it. You prayed for your spouse. You prayed for the girl. You prayed for the man. But the crazy part is, it's like whenever you get something, why is it that they forget to tell you that you got to manage it? And that managing it comes with pain sometimes. It comes with uncertainty and it comes with doubt because you have to manage it. If it breaks, you got to fix it. And if you don't fix it, nobody cares more than you care. Nobody cares more than you care. So you got to find a partner that actually cares just as much as you care. You got to find people that actually care as much as you care. But remember, if they're not intertwined in it and there's no attachment and there's no emotional attachment, then nobody's going to care more than you care. So I want y'all to stop believing that success is random, because it's not random. Even Rihanna's career wasn't random. She was singing, and then had a friend who said, hey, I know Jay-Z, right? That's the story that we all got. And then all of a sudden, what happened? She had to go and she had to prove it. But it wasn't random, because if she never would have been singing and Buddy never heard her, guess what never would have happened? We wouldn't have a Rihanna. We wouldn't have a Drake. We wouldn't have a Kendrick. We wouldn't have a Rick Ross. We wouldn't have a 50 Cent. We wouldn't have all these individuals if they didn't put in the work. You wouldn't have a Ben Rich. You wouldn't have an Illuminated D. You wouldn't have it. So I want y'all to stop believing that these people just hitting. Because they not just hitting. They putting in work. Day and night. Even when it's hard, they grinding for it. Even when it looks uncertain, they grinding for it. Even when they go through depression, they grinding for it. You know why? You know why? Because they're determined and they got a vision. And even, you know, my aunt told me, she said, we don't got a crystal ball, so you can't see the foreseen future. Even NVIDIA is one of the biggest AI tech companies in the game, aside from TSMC or TSMC, right? You know what they said? They said when we started NVIDIA, we didn't even know how we were going to do it. All we did was start in a little office and we just started working. And you know what that work came with? Research. It started with research and a group of friends. It didn't start with just a big factory and a bunch of technological things. No, it started with a paper and a pen and a vision. And then it came with research. And then it came with trying and failing until success was made possible. I want y'all to stop thinking that success is random. This did not just happen randomly. Nobody became successful randomly. They had to try and they had to fail until success was made possible. You see, some of these the fittest individuals, do you think that it feels good every single day to wake up and feel pain when you want to go to the gym to get the body that you feel you deserve? If you look in the mirror and you hate yourself, I'm going to be honest, because I've been there in my life. I could say it. I've looked in the mirror and been fat. I was fat. I was overweight. I was obese. Obese in my eyes, right? I was obese. And you know what I did? I prayed to God. I prayed to God that day. I was in the mirror and I said, I hate you. You're fat. You're fat. You're disgusting, right? I said that. And you know what happened? God answered my prayers. But God didn't just say, boom, here you go, you're fit. You know what God did? I got a doorbell. I got a ring at the doorbell. Ding dong. It was my boy Paco. He said, hey, D, I'm about to start football practice. I'm about to start football practice. You want to come run 2 miles with me every day? I just asked God. I said, God, if you ever give me the opportunity to change my life so I can be fit and change my life and my reality, I promise I'm going to do it. I got that instantly. It was 15 seconds later. And you know what I did? I got out there and I ran that 2 miles. And I didn't get skinny. I didn't get skinny either. I was wearing a size 42, damn near on a 46. I didn't get skinny. But you know what I did again the next day? I went to the 2 mile. I went and faced my fear. I went again the 3rd day, the 4th day, the 5th day, the 6th day, 7th day, 8th day, 9th day, 10th day, all the way until the end of summer. And even when Paco said, I don't want to play football no more, you know what I still did? Because he jump-started my motivation. So I, in turn, owe God and I owe my friend Paco for putting me on the right road to success. And it always stuck with me. But it wasn't random. Because you know what I had to do? I had to put in that work. Because we all want to be successful. We all want to be somewhere in life. But in order to do that, you got to do something that you ain't never done before. And that's the reason that we doing this right here, right now. Everybody be blessed, be safe, we out. Peace.